My name is Nora Hayes and I work as a master electrician who spends her days wrestling with dangerous wiring. During a holiday cookout on my own wooden deck, my sister grabbed her young daughter and pointed toward my lake house with absolute certainty. She stated that the property would belong to the child someday soon. I stopped breathing for a second because nobody had ever consulted me regarding my own home ownership. People in my small town understand that I built this life through pure physical labor when others chose easier paths. While my former classmates sat in comfortable university lecture halls, I crawled through dusty attics and narrow crawl spaces to earn my master license. My late father supported my ambitions by handing me his old multimeter when society declared trade school unsuited for women. That tool remains my most cherished possession today. 7 years ago, I purchased a rotting foreclosure property on the waterfront using every single dollar from my personal savings account. The building required extensive renovations because the electrical system dated back to the 1950s and presented a severe fire hazard. I spent countless weekends replacing insulation, repairing structural damage, and installing modern circuits with my own calloused hands. Every square foot of that house reflected my sweat and dedication. My mother Helen operated under a strict philosophy that nothing belonged exclusively to any individual family member. Throughout my entire childhood, personal items circulated freely among relatives while my own boundaries were routinely ignored. Whenever family members needed electrical repairs or heavy lifting completed, they summoned me without offering compensation or even gas money. I always answered their calls because being useful felt remarkably similar to being genuinely loved by them. That holiday afternoon started peacefully enough with grilled burgers and pleasant weather until my sister delivered her bizarre declaration near the water. When I questioned the strange statement, my mother offered a serene smile that completely unsettled my stomach. Nobody at the gathering looked surprised or defensive in the slightest manner. They behaved like people who shared a secret that the guest of honor was only just discovering. Later that evening, my brother-in-law Lucas approached me near the grill while I was cleaning the metal grates. He spoke in a low and friendly tone while warning me not to take property discussions too seriously. Then he patted my shoulder and remarked that the lake house was not quite as secure as I believed. That subtle warning sent a cold shiver down my spine because builders recognize danger long before flames appear. My suspicions multiplied when I applied for a bank loan to expand my electrical business by purchasing a second service vehicle. The bank title search uncovered a shocking surprise that stopped my financial plans instantly. Public records showed a recorded private mortgage against my property listing my mother as the lender for a massive sum. The document listed a transaction date from 7 years prior, when I bought the property alone. I drove straight to the county courthouse the following morning to inspect the fraudulent paperwork with my own eyes. The official mortgage document displayed a signature that clumsily imitated my unique handwriting style. Without the signature hook I always add. A local notary named Arthur had stamped the paperwork while claiming I appeared before him personally. However, my work logs proved I was working miles away on that exact date. Seeking professional guidance, I visited a seasoned litigation attorney named Mary Saul who examined the fraudulent mortgage thoroughly. She explained that forged documents remain legally void but still create a damaging cloud over property titles until a court issues an official removal order. Mary Saul asked if my mother understood the gravity of the forgery scheme. I realized my mother chose ignorance whenever convenience suited her financial desires better. Back at my kitchen table, I gathered 7 years of meticulous job logs, bank statements, and tax records into a heavy binder. Every single document proved conclusively that no such loan funds ever entered my bank accounts when I purchased the property. Meanwhile, my mother summoned me to another family dinner where she demanded I surrender ownership or clear the fictitious debt. She smiled warmly while attempting to steal my life work. While performing routine electrical repairs at my mother's house, I discovered financial statements detailing regular withdrawals from my late father's insurance annuity. Lucas had managed those investments and systematically drained tens of thousands of dollars during his failed business ventures. When the financial hole grew too large to hide, they fabricated a mortgage against my lake house to cover the missing money. They used my property as their financial safety net. Hoping to secure undeniable proof, I arranged a meeting with Lucas at a local coffee shop while recording our conversations secretly on my phone. He confirmed the fraudulent nature of the mortgage quite casually while claiming family convenience justified the deception. He assumed I would surrender the property rather than cause public embarrassment. That audio recording became the ultimate weapon in our impending legal battle. My attorney reviewed the comprehensive evidence binder, the forged mortgage documents, and the audio recording before filing an official lawsuit immediately. The legal complaint demanded a quiet title judgment, damages for slander of title, and felony forgery charges against the participants. We ensured the legal papers would be served right after the upcoming holiday dinner. They would discover the consequences of their deception very soon. I invited the family to my lake house for Christmas Eve dinner to maintain appearances and observe their final trap deployment. They arrived carrying holiday food while wearing cheerful expressions that masked their underlying intentions. My young niece Lily played happily in the living room, unaware of the impending storm. The adults maintained polite conversation while waiting for the designated moment to execute their property takeover plan. Following dinner, Lucas produced a leather folder containing transfer documents and placed a black pen near my plate for signature. Instead of signing, I excused my niece upstairs and laid out my evidence binder across the dining table. I displayed the forged signature, the conflicting work schedules, the bank records, and finally played the recorded audio confession. Complete silence descended upon the room as the harsh reality struck them. Lucas erupted in blind panic while shouting accusations about illegal recording devices until my sister silenced him with a stern glare. I presented to Brown envelopes containing legal settlements and formal court complaints for their review. They could sign the confession and arrange restitution payments or face immediate criminal prosecution through the judicial system. My sister demanded that her husband sign the paperwork immediately to prevent utter destruction. My mother stared at the financial evidence detailing the stolen annuity funds before fixing her gaze entirely upon me with absolute coldness. Instead of expressing remorse for the conspiracy, she declared that pursuing legal action meant I was no longer her daughter. She chose to protect the man who stole from her rather than the daughter who exposed the truth. Her generational cycle of emotional manipulation remained unbroken until the very end. Lucas signed the confession documents with a trembling hand while my mother gathered her coat and walked out into the falling snow. She departed without offering a single word of apology or reconciliation for her actions. My sister remained behind to help clean the kitchen while expressing profound regret for her blind trust. We shared a quiet understanding regarding the difficult path toward true healing and personal independence. Several months later, the court officially invalidated the fraudulent mortgage and restored complete ownership rights to my name. My business expanded successfully, and I welcomed a dedicated young apprentice named Lily who shared my passion for electrical work. My mother never spoke to me again, but my life finally felt entirely my own. True family support builds you up rather than attempting to demolish your hard work.